name is the Revd Dr Ben Aldous, and I'm the Principal Officer for Mission and Evangelism at Churches Together in England. I've been in post for the last 4 years. CTE is the national ecumenical instrument, and we have 54 member churches, a wide range of churches from the Methodists through to the Ecumenical Patriarchate, from Church of God of Prophecy to the Catholic Bishops' Conference of England and Wales. Most of my role is to help churches to think how they can work strategically together in mission. I hold conferences and I network across the denominations. Before that, I was a vicar in South Africa, in the Anglican Church of Southern Africa, in Durban and Cape Town, and before that I was a church planter in Cambodia. Last year I had a book published called The God Who Walks Slowly, Reflections on Mission with Kosuke Koyama. I really came to the work of Koyama firstly as a church planter in Cambodia. Koyama was a Japanese theologian writing mostly in the late 60s through the 70s into the 80s. When I came back to live in the UK 4.5 years ago, as part of my role at CTE, I began to read some of Koyama's speeches at the World Council of Churches, and they seemed to really resonate with the kind of existential anxiety about future church that I was seeing reflected in the historic denominations, certainly in the UK setting, and the kind of fears about the place of the church in the future. And some of the key themes that Koyama talks about slowness, about the inefficiency of Christ, about the idea that we are called to go gently into the world, and that God walks with us at 3 miles an hour, were the kind of metaphors that would be really useful for helping the church to remember that Missio Dei, following God in God's action in the world, is not dependent on us and about our strategic skills or our abilities or our management, but actually listening and being attuned, being attentive to the voice of the Spirit and discerning that and being conscious of what that means for us as Christians and as church leaders. Something that really intrigues me and challenges me at the same time about the work of Koyama is its counter-narrative to the obsessions of the world about speed and productivity and power and status. I think Koyama is a really helpful antidote to that. One other thing is that how little people in the UK context really know about theology outside of Western Europe and North America. And so one of the reasons I wrote this book is to bring to the attention of wider readers who Koyama is. And so really it's intended to be a kind of hinterland between the academy and grassroots church leaders, those who are working in parishes at local level. So I'm intrigued by those themes that Koyama brings for us to feast upon, for us to wrestle with and to, I think, reflect upon. One thought that I'd like to leave you with is the idea of curiosity. I think the future of theological education is rooted in curiosity, and for me it's about being curious about other cultures and other contexts. As I said earlier, many people in the UK are very kind of scant knowledge on theologians from the global south or other parts of the world, and I've really enjoyed over the last few years, particularly I'm just thinking of what's on my desk, of reading people like Emmanuel Katungole or Dorothy Sole or Tissa Balasuria. I've just come across and immensely enjoying him. I've just finished writing a paper for a theological journal based in Greece, which is it's a missiological Orthodox journal. And so finding gifts from a theological spectrum. As Anglicans, I think it's really important that we tap into the gifts of theology from across the globe and from different traditions and different confessions. So my closing thought is continue to be curious, because that's the future of theological education.